You know, in December, I've been playing a lot of that popular online game that involves magical swords and moving to smaller areas of the map as time passes, featuring an archer, a swordsman, and a girl who can summon spirits to protect her. Of course, I'm talking about the Bleach Fortnite update. Elden Ring nightreign is pretty controversial, but I like it. I don't love it, but I think all the bosses are at least pretty decent apart from Dark Libra. Fuck that guy. I did feel 8 main bosses was kind of too little, but then throughout the summer they released updated versions of the bosses called Everdark Sovereigns, but the final one was in August. So that left kind of nothing to do till Deep in Night, which just shook up base content rather than adding anything new. So when the DLC was announced last month, I was excited. I made a video analysing the trailer where I got basically everything wrong. I was genuinely talking about like the Dreadlord having 2 heads, it being a reference to the old one, the balancers being archangels. I still have no fucking clue why they put the Gladius chainsword on that though, like on the poster. Milo's a raid, but he's really not that important to it. I even mentioned Demon Prince in that video, so I basically predicted it. But anyway, that released on December 4th, and I loved it. Both new bosses were fun. I liked the new map, shocking I know, and I thought the new characters were great. I warmed up the score a bit, but still good. And the bosses, including the new Salvation Standard Bearers that released today as I'm writing this, which would have been, I don't know, because I'm re-recording this segment actually, so it's at 6 PM on the 31st, and I've missed it in 5 hours, so, but yeah, I can't remember exactly what. I'll put it up on screen. We're all great. I also delayed this a bit because I was wanting to see if Dark Dreadlord was coming out. Watch him genuinely come out tomorrow. Watch him come out like the second I upload this. If he does, I just do like a little add-on video to talk about him because but I might as well. Although the DLC isn't flawless, its new Limveiled content is and that raid is god awful. So in this video, in order, I'll discuss the map and its events, the new characters, then the new Night Lords. Well, technically they're not Night Lords. One of the major new changes that the Forsaken Hollows added was the new map, the Great Hollow. But that wasn't just it. They added 2 new types of structures for the base map too. The swamps and the towns. I don't mind the towns, they give good runes, help fix the issue of getting a shite Asher War and a good weapon. I mean, every time I get the fucking Butcher and Life Raider, probably the best damage free purple weapon for him, but the skill was always some bullshit, man. They fucking kick, storm stomp, something of that calibre. The boss are usually pretty easy as well, being beefy groups of either early Elden Ring bosses, like Leon the Limgrave ones, like Omen Killers, or just elite enemies like Black Flame Monks and Horn Warriors. They also added swamps, which I'm kind of disappointed in, since I was hoping for sort of like a castle structure. Maybe not as big as the central one, but like a pretty big one. But they're not bad. Like, I know swamps aren't very popular, but I don't mind them. They're just kind of there. It's not too egregious since they're small and there's little islands of debris intermittently spread about the area. But honestly, for the time spent getting the boss, I don't think they're worth it for the runes you get. Another major change is the 3 new raids they added. They added raids for Gladius, Beast of Night, Caligo, Miasma Knight, and the new Harmonia boss, who I'll touch more on later. And both my first playthrough with friends and all the solo and random runs I've done since release, I've gotten the Balancers raid once, which I immediately got disconnected after getting the perk from it. I've gotten the Caligo raid maybe 5 or so times, and I've gotten the Gladius raid in almost half my fucking games. I don't know why it has such a high rate, it just does. And the raid fucking sucks. 3 individual dogs, Gladii, are placed across the map, and you take heat damage until one of them is touched by the storm and all 3 are dead. The problem is, after carrying 1, fire dogs start attacking you, and they can nuke you. They do crazy damage. But one single Gladius isn't too hard, so you can split up and kill them individually. That's only if I play with friends. And I can't always get my friends on to do every run with me for footage. Some of them would rather be playing Deadlock. So there's no way to communicate this with randoms because obviously there's no voice chat for... I mean, I say for no reason, but being in a voice chat with FromSoft fans seems pretty miserable. By the time it takes you to kill every individual mini Gladius, this can take around half a day, like one in calling the first circle. And the runes are for the amount of time it takes. And it also has arguably the worst passive out of every raid in the game. Beast's Hunt makes successive attacks restore stamina and hasten stamina recovery for self and nearby allies. Directly copy pasted that for the wiki. Great stuff. Really. Just fucking brilliant. It's not as if that's already a passive on his fucking relic that also sucks ass. The Calico raid is much easier. She spawns in the centre of a circle shown on your map and begins to summon a thick fog. Occasionally, she will summon a rain of hairy... Oh my god. I'm a bit rusty this. She'll summon a rain of icy hailstones that will probably kill you, especially if she raids you on day 1. When you find her, all you have to do is whack her a couple of times and she'll fuck off. But our passive basically gives a free version of Wilder's 6th Sense passive, making you invisible and able to survive one fatal hit before resting at grace, which means you can not only survive it, but heal up after 2. She also gives like 80k runes, which can be really good on day 1, since you might spawn right next to you. Last, and in my experience least common, is the Balancer's raid. I've only ever had it solo, but you get teleported to a camp and must fight one base version of the Harmonia. There'll be 3 across the map in trios, and you all get teleported separately, but just 2 in solos, you just have to walk to the other one. Unless that makes a glitch in my mind, who knows. But its reward is insane, at least from what I've heard. Basically, it's a chance activated Wind and Grace. It seems to a pretty high activation rate, so apparently, like I've seen someone say it went off like 12 times for them on Dreglord. I don't know what they're doing to die 12 times. It's a shame I didn't get it though, but you know, all this stuff about the new raids and the base game, base map stuff, that's small potatoes. One of the main pulls of the DLC was the brand new map added to the game, the Great Hollow. Before I discuss the actual map, I do want to mention one thing that annoys me. You can only run it on DLC expeditions. So the passives like the free ult on Make No Flasks can't be used on anyone except Harmonia or Strigus. And a lot of people might say not see it as a problem because they don't like the map, but I do like it. I think the layout is fun, new structures are pretty interesting, the crystal gimmick is good, it gave us Crystal Knight and more, and the Divine Towers are pretty cool. I don't like the storm circles on day 2 though. So it does kind of annoy me that I have to do Harmonia or Dreglord for it. I mean, I love those bosses, but I just like the option. The map is split into 2 sections time-wise. Cracking the Crystal and Storming the Castles. I'm sure you know Gimmick the Crystals already, so I'll spare you an unnecessary explanation, but you should be able to have the Crystal cracked at either the end of night 1 or just after the start of day 2. Then exploring the huge castles and killing bosses, or entering a Divine Tower and fighting your way up. After getting the power of the crystal, we'll have multiple night bosses with different buffs around the arena, like a buff to magic damage for both sides, or constant HP also both sides. They added a few night bosses too, so we'll go over those quickly in some short fire reviews. Demon Duo are a lot more dangerous than other night bosses from Dark Souls previous in the game, but it's still pretty manageable in trios due to split aggression, and in solos due to their kind of flimsy HP pull and poise value. Still pretty fun though. Death Knight Squad, definitely more designed for trios. Starts off with 1, then 3. I like them more as 1v1s in Elden Ring. Not bad, but probably the least remarkable new fight. I do like lighting up an Undertaker out and just fucking get a collateral though. The DLC bros, aka Cursed and Divine Beast Warrior. Hardest night 1 boss probably. Cursed is fine, but even a year and a half after the fact, after the launch, Divine Beast Warriors are still strong as fuck. Pretty good boss though. I'm definitely better at fighting Divine Beast Warriors now than I was when the DLC first dropped. And by DLC in Shadow the Tree. Great Red Bear. As a long time Great Red Bear defender, I was chuffed to see nightreign. Like I saw those 2 rune bears spawn at first, fuck yes mate. So, people complain about those aforementioned 2 rune bears beforehand, but they're so flimsy, I feel like it really doesn't matter. And the fight with the actual red bear, as said in one of my old videos that got deleted, because my mic quality was god awful, it probably sounded like this. Yeah, I think Beowulf was a pretty good boss. Oh no, I actually don't like Sunasox. I think Sunasox is pretty bad. But, as I said then, I think they've got fun movesets, they're cool, and I see a lot of people hating on them for no reason. I love rune bears and I love red bears. Chatorius. No comment. Alright, fine. Okay. He is better than he is in Dark Souls 1. Plus, this does push my agenda, as since there's technically infinite possible nightreign runes, that means that his win-loss record is now 0 to infinity, plus 2, because they still lost to Madison and Chosen Undead. I mean, I suppose you can do infinite runs of Dark Souls 1, and in those infinite runs, he still has to lose to Manus every time. So it's like Infinity Cube, basically. Still don't love him though. Divine Beast Dancing Line. Good boss, but I feel like he's a bit too easy in this. Like, every time I fight him with a group, he gets pumped. Pretty, like, even when I'm doing solo, he gets pumped. Except for the time I was doing fucking solo Scholar. I think it's kind of like in a GGK, if anyone watching has ever read or seen that, like Jogo. Like, he fights like Gojo and Sukuna, he just gets like demolished. But then the one time he's fighting someone that hasn't got like a crazy build, like it's Maki, Nanami, and the other one, what's his name? Naobito. They just get wiped. I mean, I still won, unlike them in their fight against Yogo, but like, I was running, I was fucking spamming that Clean Rock Ring of Light at him. It's just, really terrifying. Okay, I stopped recording this for some reason. But Moog. Fuck yes! Moog time! Oh, where do I even begin? An interesting new gimmick with spears around the arena and majorly a new fight without just giving him one new move. Bravo, Moog. You fucking done it again. Top 1 Shard Bearer, top 1 boss in the underground, top 1 night boss. Who can stop this absolute fucking demon? Speaking of demons, Demon Prince. I mean, he's pretty good. I mean, I don't know. I like him, but I think it works better being jumped straight into after the little duo than having like 20 minutes to stew on the fight with them and to get stronger. I feel like what when you kill first also matters way less here than DS3 too. Like, I mean, I've put up on screen, I could not name who has the lasers and has the meteor off the top of my head. But I don't know, I just feel like that had way less an influence in this fight. Like, now the moves are super dangerous, unlike in DS3, where those meteors, terrifying stuff. So now I'll be talking about the new characters, and I love these two. The DLC increased the roster of Nightfarers to an even 10, adding the Scholar, an arcane specialist who makes consumables useful, and the Undertaker, a strength faith nun that's become my secondary main after Raider. Can you tell I like Great Hammers? I'll start with a discussion of Scholar. I won't be discussing remembrances, because I low-key forgot to record Undertakers. Sorry. The Scholar is a bit of an odd one. He focuses more on consumables and buffs and debuffs placed on allies and enemies respectively, more than melee damage. He can still get pretty good damage though. Revenant is a bit of a support character too, so why would you choose him over her? He's not dog shit. Revenant isn't bad per se, but I do always wince a little when I get matched with a rando player due to all the hilarious people making La Creatura builds with her, using strength weapons when I'd be using fucking Radar back in like the summer. And they'd always, like, all of them without fail would be awful at the game too. Thankfully, that trend has kind of died. That is kind of off topic, as last time I said about Revenant in this section. But if anyone is doing fantasy football or something like that, a great final week punishment: scroll through Revenant's Extra Life comment section to the bottom. It's worse than Chinese water torture, I think. But anyway, back on topic. Scholar specialises in rapiers as his main weapon, and he mostly scales with arcane. And though some people view him as a bit of a shiter in terms of damage, if you get something like a blade dance bar, you can fuck stuff up. Even a poison clean rock knight sword, I use that specifically because I feel like I pick that up in every run I do with him. Get that part out. Can outperform some characters since rapiers are actually fast. Has some on at 9. Its consumable perks are kind of a mixed bag. I think the problem is that a lot of the time you won't get enough of certain items to max them out. Like, you can definitely max out something like a Wraith Colin, Bell, Pots or Grease, but you're going to have a way harder time maxing it like aromatics or physics. But those maxed out Pots and that maxed out Wraith Colin Bell will certainly help. Its character skill, Analyze, can buff allies or debuff enemies that are in the area, and the monocle that shows up on screen. It's alright. Like, it's useful, and a great side effect of it is it can be used to like really quickly proc the Wraiths while walking and the Rain of Stars while walking perks. Like, I had that like Deathrite bird where I was gone with those Wraiths. But the buffs themselves aren't too substantial. His ult, Communion, works as sort of a brother to the Reckless's ult, where everyone is linked, including your team, and HP is also gained on enemies being hit, just like the ult with Reckless. Enemies hitting you hurts them. Everyone shares fast heals, on the enemies of course, and damage is given to other enemies linked to each other. Not fully, only like 20%. As well, damage dealt to enemies can revive allies. It's not much if it's just you and your rapier, like taking on Dreglord, but if people are getting hit left, right and centre, it can progress surprisingly fast. So yeah, pretty good character. I have my patented Scholar tank build. I had like 1600 HP with him, because I just kept getting 10%. I got the improved physique Libra deal. I think we did Rotted Woods. No, I don't think we did actually. I guess it was just on its own. Maybe I had like Erdry's Favour or something. At one point I was playing with two randoms who both went down, and I had to like stall full go to like a revive one of them. And I felt like that one panel like Kusakabe and JJK was like, am I really gonna fight Sukuna? Well, JJK references to the... But he's well less popular than the two. He's like Foxy and FNAF 1, you know. The real goat this DLC is the Undertaker. No weaknesses. Don't like Raider's Colossal moveset? Use Undertaker. I like what I said about Revenant earlier. I will talk more about her. Wish Revenant bulk builds weren't shite and used by Earth's most gifted comedians? Use Undertaker. Wish I had more outuse? Use Undertaker. Wish you could have a Duchess dodge with a strength item? Use Undertaker. There's nothing she can't do. Apart from maybe cast down spells, but whatever. She specialises in hammers and scales mostly in strength and faith, which makes her great with weapons like Marika's hammer, obviously, Devourer's scepter and Thrall's hammer. You might laugh, right? You might think, oh, Thrall's hammer sucks. But upgrade that shit at the Volcano Forge, and we'll see who's laughing now. So, our character skill, Trance, gives her a better dodge and slightly buffed attack after multiple hits for a short duration. And if used when ult charges full, it gives you Ultra Instinct and permanently, just buffs your attack automatically for the full run of it. So you can dodge all blows for 15 seconds, which is good for revival. Our ult, Loathsome Hex, is a pretty straightforward one. She leaps into the air, pulls out a kind of fucked bone from her body, from her mouth I think, and lunges at the boss with it, using it as like a sort of spear. This home's far, so it's pretty good for shooting dragons out of the air, but you all know what actually makes her so good. Our passive. Confluence gives you a free ult use in two situations. One, if an ally uses their ult, and two, you perfect dodge an oncoming grab attack. So if you're running triple ult Undertaker, you can get like 9 ults. First person uses their real ult and the other two use their passive ult, second uses their real ult, so on. And if you're solo, you can still get a bunch of ult casts from grab happy bosses like Elmar. So no one's safe really. And with improved crits, all that poise damage from those ults pay off. They also made the Night Lord roster an even 10. Well, I suppose 16 if you count the other Harmonia, and 23 if you count the other Dark Harmonia, and 24 if you count Harmonia Worm, and 25 if we count Dreglord's second head. Why did I say this game didn't have enough bosses? I'll do Harmonia, then Salvation Standard Bearers, and then Dreadlord. The Balancers, or Weapon Bequeathed Harmonia, are, as far as I know, the biggest amount of actual boss enemies from Software done in one fight, with 7 of them attacking at once. Although, if I remember correctly, you can have like 13 Floor Kings, but that's only if you're either fight them way too early or you're really not good at DPS checks. It starts off as a fairly normal group fight, with the 7 of them usually splitting aggro into 2 groups of 2 and a group of 3, and they're kinda easy. They flinch from most attacks, and heavy hitters like Radar can just stun lock them. And even though all 7 will be on you at once if you're doing solo, they're so flimsy, you should probably be able to deal with that. Like, one Radar ult just wipes them out. But once all 7 are killed, the last one rises up, Demon Prince style, as they'll fly in the sky and deliver one of the most cinematic attacks in FromSoft history, as they'll rise up and play towards one player before a few head towards the stragglers and try and hit them too, leaving little sort of like the Heal Star lingering AoE things that sort of, I don't know the exact word for them, like, whatever, you know what I'm talking about, on the ground that explode after a while. The revived one will then be noticeably stronger with a floral theme, similar to Millennia, guess that's the connection of Valkyries, and new attacks like Mesmer's Assault Holy Edition. It's different depending on what weapon the last one to die held though. They'll also gain a new grab which can kind of fuck you up since they come in off screen sometimes and can just grab you before you even know. But the grab spam can also lead to you getting out all the time, so it's a double-edged sword for them. They're a great gank fight in my opinion, as in trio, you'll now request a situation where all 7 come at you at once, and the aggression is properly spread for such a huge arena. And if you're in solo, again just get them all wind up, Undertaker ult, Raider ult, N1 AoE, and their Salvation Standard Bearers fight though, you have to fight against them, well, what the blood. The law mentions a god they prayed to for protection and returned to a village drenched in blood, so this likely shows a connection with the formless mother. In this fight, to show its distinct nature from Everdarks, they break tradition and emit the second phase, whereas all other Everdarks start the boss in phase 2. After all are killed, they revive with weak powers and then turn into a huge worm that gets nuked by Grafted Dragon. I think this fight's a bit inferior to the original. I don't really like the bleed moveset, I think the worm can be really annoying at times. But it's still pretty good, and the worm's attacks again, very cinematic. That ultimate attack with a fire booming is awesome. Definitely some Millennia connections there. Awesome fights, both ways. As for Dreadlord, you fight him twice. Or them, I suppose that's just a bunch of corpses. Once at the start of the DLC where they literally one-shot you, just under the name Dreadlord. Didn't get footage this unfortunately. And again is a calamity boss. Dreadlord specialises in Scarlet Rot, and I would heavily advise you get the Rotted Woods for it. Its first phase is kind of reminiscent of like an Erdtree Avatar X Gale, and he hits hard. He summons enemies around a quarter of the way into his HP bar, and they can grow to become really annoying worm faces, or become food for his Rot Vortex, his ultimate move of phase 1, where it absorbs everything around him, and as you've probably seen, or know if you've fought him yourself, that boosts attack. And I've seen people that have him like plus 20 attack. But, surprise, this phase 1 isn't it. He has a phase 2. He's the first real 2 HP bar boss in all nightreign, as all the other ones were, like the first HP bars like Night Aspect, or like, say, Shape of Night, or like Augur, or like, just the first phase they ever done mass fight. They're all really easy. I mean, Traitorous Stragus is no pushover, and now we need to fight Pure Impulse. So, he breaks the favour of the Rotted Woods immediately starting the fight. Well, not fully, he only breaks the rot immunity. He started the HP boost and the Black Rally thing. So, obviously you're susceptible to Scarlet Rot now, and now it reminds me more of Gale x Malekith. I wonder if there are any fanfictions of that. I'm going to look that up after it's done. Like, for a joke, for a laugh. Like, I mean, I just wouldn't know if any of those exist already. So I don't know why I'd imply that. Even as his pillars that he jumps from, that was the one attack that used to always flatten me, but I've kind of learned, like, it's not like Full Gloss Arrow, where if you just keep moving after he locks onto you, you should be fine. I'll keep moving to the side. And with him down, the DLC is complete. Pretty good. He ranks pretty highly under the list of best DLC bosses, best DLC final bosses. I'd say he's probably top 20 overall. I think both might be top 20, both, like, Base Harmonia and Dreadlord might be top 20 FromSoft for me. They also have amazing relics, by the way, with both Balancer relics giving improved melee and skill power, with one giving constant FP recovery and the other giving you a 20% chance of being missed by attacks with your damage negation down, so a Scorpion Charm would be 100% worth it here. And a Dreadlord gives you Scarlet Rot damage on your weapon after being hit and more power for each set in the status bars on your HUD. So, overall, I think it's quite good. Here is my updated boss tier list after the fact. I really did enjoy this DLC. The bosses were great, the new characters were fun, I liked the new map, and I think for the price of £10, it was worth it. And I enjoy more small DLCs if they wanted to release them in, like, for this price with this amount of good content. So my next plan is to be Elden Ring all bosses ranked. Well, not my next video, but my next like huge project, which I'm hoping to have out for me summer, like before the end of my high school term last year. But well, no, this is my last year. I did not end high school last year. But yeah, so that'll be all Elden Ring bosses, like Remembrance bosses, Godric, Godfrey, Moog, Millennia, and even like the Red Wolf, Radagon, Margit, stuff like that, and also the really minor ones like Beastman of Farum Azula, Abductor Virgin Duo, Trio Crystallion. But I wouldn't rank like identical ones the same. I wouldn't rank like the what was it? I had an example of this I prepped. Godskin Apostle. I wouldn't rank the Godskin Apostle and the Minula and the Kira Divine Tower together. No, I them together because it's the same boss, there's no difference. But yeah, so Happy New Year. This video will probably be coming out just after New Year because I'm having to re-record the footage, so it'll probably be like midnight. No, it'll be later than that, probably about 1 AM when it, like, for me when this drops. So I hope you all have a great 2026. I'm hoping for 1k subscribers this year. I said that last year, I didn't get it, but I'm this year, okay? Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for continued support. You know, it's not went to 1k, our sub count has doubled from where it was last year at this point. So I have you all to thank for that. And I'd like to thank you for your continued support and the help in Formula 1's Dark Souls 2 fan Formula 1's Only Kagura YouTube channel. Right, see ya.